Welcome to our last Leading Ladies Journeys webinar for 2023. My name is Sally Patch and I am the chairperson for the Leading Ladies Welcome to our last Leading Ladies Journeys webinar for 2023. My name is Sally Patch and I am the chairperson for the Leading Ladies Real Estate Chapter here in Queensland. And it's my great pleasure this afternoon to be sitting down with Roxanne Paterson. Roxanne, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Rox, you've had a stellar career in real estate over the last 10 years. The majority of that time has been with the Ray White Group. And of the last 3 to 4 years, I think you have placed in the top 1% of agents within their group. That's extraordinary. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you've done that while managing staff across 2 different offices. You've raised a young family. And that's what we want to explore today. We want to talk about your journey, what you've learned along the way, and sharing that with some other people in this industry.
Thank you. I'm excited to share it.
All right, so let's get into it. So, Rox, you were successful relatively early on in your career. You were recognised very early on with LJ Hooker as their best new talent internationally, and I think
Yes.
you'd only been in real estate for about 12 months at that time. By the end of year 2, I think you were doing 60 deals a year by the second year.
Yes.
Was it really that easy? Did it come that easy to you? What did the early years in real estate look like for you?
It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It wasn't easy, but I think when I accepted it for what it was, it relatively became easy. And that was, I think on day one, I really started to think I was a real estate agent. I shoulders back, I thought I could conquer the world in the industry. And then I really realized that is just not the case. So I'm going to share a story actually, because I was offered at the time a job in NRMA, to be honest, working 5 days a week, no weekends. And I was stupid enough, but very smart enough to take the real estate job at the same time. So it was less than a quarter of the pay, working 6 days a week. And I'm so grateful that I took it. But there was lots of moments in that first initial period where I really thought I'd made the wrong decision, to be honest. And I fast forward 8 years and think I'm so grateful that I stuck it out and pushed those barriers down, because I was so close to walking away, and the industry's changed my world.
And what was hard? What were you finding really challenging at that time?
I just thought I was doing Mission Impossible, to be honest. Like, how was I actually going to get a sale? How was I going to build a business? I was completely green and completely raw. I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any training. I sat there drowning, if I'm honest. And I was driving home one night. I'd missed tucking my kids into bed yet again. And I actually called my mum, because at the time there were a lot of people saying, I'd made the wrong decision. What is she doing? I had at the time a 2 and a 4-year-old. And I thought I'd made the wrong decision as well. And it wasn't until she said to me, "You've never given up at anything you've done in your lifetime. So hold your head up, give it all you've got for 6 months. And if you still feel this way, we'll walk away with your head held high." And I'll be honest, I went to work that next day with a completely fresh new mindset. And it was just, I went on a mission to build a name for myself in the area, but just talk to the community. So I wasn't there to sell their homes, but just get into as many doors and have as many good conversations as I could. And that just paid off for me beautifully throughout my career.
Thanks, Mum.
Thanks, Mum. I'll take that one, yes.
So if you could go back then, put yourself in somebody else's shoes at that same stage of their career, what key piece of advice would you like somebody to have given you?
I think throughout this chat today, I'll probably keep coming back to the one thing, and that's throughout your career, no matter what you're doing, to be honest, if it's real estate or whatever journey you're on, you're going to have a brick wall in front of you. And there's a pivotal moment if you knock it down or simply turn off and walk away. And I think if I can give any advice, just keep knocking the brick walls down, because you never know what's on the other side of it.
So what did you learn about yourself during this time then? Probably that you are stronger than you thought you were, that you
Yeah, absolutely. And it's probably only, to be honest, fast forward 7 to 8 years that I've started to realise that. I think I was just in go-go phase. Losing was never an option for me. And as the years have passed by, I've really realised that. But it's just, I guess you have to be resilient. But I think you've got to be resilient in anything you do in life. It's not meant to be easy. If you want great reward, you have to have those scary moments where you make really hard decisions.
And that's something that has always struck me about you, Roxanne. You are resilient, you're courageous, you're ambitious, you've always known what it is that you have wanted, and you've set a plan and you've just gone for it.
Yeah, it's funny actually, and I reminded you, I wanted to say something. On my wedding day, everyone was asking me for a wet weather plan. I got married on the beach and I refused to give a wet weather plan. Anyway, I was driving to my wedding and it was pouring with rain. And I was like, I should have done that. I should have done the wet weather plan. I don't have one. I didn't need it. The clouds opened up, the sun came out, and I think throughout my journey, I've never relied on plan B. I've never allowed plan A not to work. So that's probably something I can give advice to anyone who's starting out on any new journey. Just don't give up. Yeah. Don't set plan B. We'll all fall for it.
Yes,
that's the easier option naturally. So if it's there, you'll sort of turn off and all of a sudden you've taken the easier route and you haven't won to where you could have.
Yeah. And actually that's a great segue to the next thing that I wanted to talk about, Rox, because you were determined to have your own business from very early on in your career. And that's where we met. And your boys were very young. I remember Caden was in a car seat, so your boys were young. 2016, you opened Ray White Brackenridge.
Yes.
The boys were young. Jamie, your husband, was your first BDM, and he did a pretty good job of it, didn't he? For someone who had no experience in property management.
He did a very good job, yeah. He had a bit of tradie about him still, but we got there. And he was a crucial piece in my safety, I think, in lasting in that first 12 months. I felt safe.
Yeah. And so what was your motivation for having your own business? Why did you want to do that?
To be honest, I'd come from somewhere where I felt that I was probably just a number and I was a young mum in what I call a big man's world. I don't know if I can say that, but that's how I felt. And I wanted to open the doors for a business that was inviting for everybody, I think, and it was nurturing to young mums. It was nurturing to someone who had a different story. I just wanted a safe place. And I'd worked so hard where I was that I didn't want to work so hard and have it not work out again, that I just wanted to create an environment that everyone could come and work in and succeed at the same time.
So what gave you the confidence to take that step? Because you were young family. You'd only been in real estate for 18 months, I think, at that stage. Where did the confidence come from?
I don't know that I had great confidence at the time, but it was, again, big risk, great reward. If I didn't take that leap of faith, and that's throughout my whole journey, I have really pushed out of my comfort zone quite frequently. And again, so grateful I did, because at the end of each push through was a magic moment. So it was the most terrifying. Opening a business was the most terrifying thing I could have done. I remember laying in bed one night and I said to Jamie, my husband, okay, what if we lose everything? If this doesn't work, what do we lose? And I was adamant, as long as we don't lose our house, we'll be okay. And that's really how I've made lots of decisions. Okay, what does the worst case scenario look like? And just be comfortable with it. And then failure was never an option for me. The second I said yes, I was going to open, I think everything else was out the window and I was just full steam ahead. There was no other option but to win. There was too much on the line.
Yeah. And to your point earlier, there certainly were some bumps, some big bumps in the road on that journey. But you pushed through. And that's life. You know, we're always, we meet obstacles on our paths to what it is that we want to do. And for some people, I think it's easy to maybe perhaps take that as a sign. I'm not meant to do that, or it's too hard. You had every opportunity or every excuse or reason to say, you know what, this is just too hard. It's too challenging. I'm going to back off. I'm outstanding as a salesperson. I can continue to do that. But you didn't. You stayed focused. You stayed the course.
Yeah, I think there's probably a bit of stubbornness that came out of me in that. And going back to earlier where there was a lot of people that thought I was stupid for what I was doing. Second layer to that, even stupider for opening a business. So I was almost on a mission not to lose. But I guess that's a hard question to answer, because it's just, you just take each moment as they came. And that was each obstacle, I just did it one at a time. There was certainly moments of complete defeat and lots of tears where I laid there to think, oh my gosh, this is just not meant to be. But I I don't know, I never let it consume me. And I was just ready to conquer the world. At the same time, I didn't have a plan B, so plan A had to work.
Yeah.
And it was a bit like throughout COVID, where you're just constantly every day rerouting. You just thought you got on top of it and you were faced with something else. It was a bit the same.
Yeah.
It was just one day at a time, one obstacle at a time. I knew what I wanted, and I knew I could get there with perseverance. But yeah, to say that it was easy and that I didn't want to walk away would be lying.
Yeah. Yeah. So then becoming a business owner doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, give you the credentials to be a leader. And somebody that I know well said to me that you have to earn the right to influence people. And I think that's just a fabulous expression.
Yeah.
Does that ring true for you? What do you think about that?
This question is actually really hard to answer, because you don't want to sit here and go, oh yes, you've done a good job. I actually don't think I realised I was being a leader until I was well and truly down the track. I think I certainly worked hard to create that environment where everyone could not only feel safe but really perform at a high standard. There's a quote that I love that I think when I was doing my high volume, actually, if I can go back to that, is that productivity naturally breeds high performance breeds high performance. And I didn't realise for a lot of years that me just naturally going out there and doing what I was doing was in fact motivating and leading to everyone else in the business. But I definitely think there's a respect factor there. I look at my team as a family, and that certainly helped. I always say that actually made me a really bad leader, I won't lie, because you love them all so much that you hurt so much harder when things don't go right. But I know that each person that walked in and out of my business was certainly there to build a better version of me and a better version of the business. So again, I don't look at those as negative situations, but more so ones that taught me lots of lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, having watched you develop your leadership skills as well and grow your businesses, you absolutely champion your people. You bring energy to everything that you do in the business. And so that is replicated. It's mirrored, isn't it?
Yeah.
We heard Dr. Ali Walker talk about the power of human connection and things like that at a recent Leading Ladies event. And that really stood out for me as you mirror that. If you bring the energy, you're going to get the energy back.
Yeah, definitely. And it was only just probably 2 weeks ago, someone pointed out to me that they love that I don't let my people fail. I refuse to let them fail. And I thought, I didn't realise that I did that until someone pointed that out to me. And I think it's sort of, if they've trusted me, I owe it to them to give them everything I've got. And that was a matter of each person is different. So walk the journey with them differently as to how they are and who they are, which definitely resonates with what she said.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're unique individuals, aren't they? And the way you lead one person, I'm sure, is completely different to the way you lead somebody else, because they need different things from you.
Absolutely. I've always said, to answer what sort of leader I am, I think I'm very nurturing, but I'm very hard and firm with high expectation. But if they need me, I'm there, and my arms are wrapped right around them.
Yeah. I think you have good structure in your business, don't you? Good structure and expectations.
Yeah.
A bit like parenting. Kids perform well in an environment where they know where the boundaries are.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely have high expectation, but I think that's just being clear, and that has been a crucial part of growing the business. Where we sort of went from 3 people to 22, you had to have clear expectation, otherwise the lines would have been blurred.
Yeah, for sure. Can you think of, are there any standout moments over the past 7 or 8 years in terms of leading a team and outcomes that you have had? Anything that you're particularly proud of?
I'm proud of the whole lot, to be honest. That's hard to pick one out. I guess I'm proud of the fierceness and the ability and the want to help each other. It's just an overall end game that I'm proud of. I am filled with pride when I look back over the 7 years. And like I said, there's been hard lessons in there, but none that I'd take back, because they were all a crucial piece to arrive at the destination that I've arrived at.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all stepping stones, aren't they, to where you are now? Yeah, amazing. So Rox, you're 7 years in, 2 businesses now, Ray White Brackenridge, Ray White Sandgate. You've been Chairman's Elite, so top 1% in the Ray White Group for 3 or 4 years. That's some pretty big milestones that you're hitting, some pretty big achievements. How are you feeling about where you are at in your real estate career and you know what you've achieved to date?
That year when I really had hit the peak was the most amazing night of my life. I can still remember it so crystal clear. I did not expect to achieve half the things that were called out that night, and nor that year, to be honest. And it was without doubt a highlight of my career. And then the weeks followed, and I found myself a bit lost, I won't lie. I didn't know what was next, and the pressure to outperform on what you'd done on the previous year weighed really heavy on my shoulders. It actually makes me emotional even thinking about it. My kids weren't getting any younger. I felt like the juggle, I was probably really starting to feel the burn of that juggle and how I did it. And I started to reevaluate what was next. I wanted something new. I felt like I'd climbed the mountain and I'd achieved more than what I could have ever dreamt of. And it was time to almost climb a new mountain. So I guess I started exploring what that looked like. What did the growth of the business look like? Where was I going to go? I looked into all sorts of different things. I spent a lot of time soul searching on what was going to be next. The first change I actually made in that was pulling back from frontline selling. And that was terrifying because for nearly 8 years I had given it all I had, but I'd built an amazing team around me underneath me in regards to the Roxanne Paterson team, and I felt really safe for the first time to actually pull back and do that and allow them to shine too at the same time. So I made that change, a terrifying one that many people didn't think I'd ever do, but I felt so free. I actually stopped zinging at night time. I look back and think, far out, how did I actually do all of those years at such high level? I think, to be honest, I don't think I stopped very much, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And I felt free. I felt clear and I felt free and I felt ready for a new chapter, to be honest.
And so now you've started a new chapter. So you've made some really significant changes to your business. So can you tell us about that? What does that look like? What does that mean for your team?
Absolutely. I spent months and months thinking about what I was going to do and who I was going to do it with, and I made a very exciting decision to merge the group with the Ray White Aspley Group, making us one of the biggest within Ray White Queensland, I believe now. So I'm still a shareholder, and the future looks really different, but the most exciting it's looked for me for a long time, to be honest. We've joined a huge family and their core values really aligned with mine, and it's funny, you sort of sit back and naturally they are your competitor.
Yeah.
And it's not until you actually sit down and get to know someone that you really see what they stand for. And I think that's a lesson for me in itself, and it was, that I'd probably judge from the outside looking in, which I'm not usually that person, but sitting down to look at what this new journey looks like, it's exciting. So I'm now being given the opportunity to be a part of that leadership team, still be the shareholder, as I said, of the existing offices, but now work in more of a training and growth role within the group. And I'm excited for that because it's really working with those that you can make a difference. This industry changed my life and my family's life. And if I can help as many people experience that same feeling, I'll do it 10 times over. And I feel like doing it with such a large group just gives me the perfect stepping stones to do that.
So where will this merger and this new business, this phase in your career challenge you the most?
Probably letting go of a lot of things. But that the challenge will be now letting go. It really will be. I have given my heart and soul to those businesses, and I still will. Rob's made that very clear that it's still your dream and it's still your journey. It just looks a little bit different. I think where I will be challenged now is size and scope. You can't have things perfect in a business that size all the time, but I'm going to do my damn best to give it a red hot go. So I don't know what new challenges that I'll face, but I'll just overcome them as they turn up day by day.
Because we're talking about a really sizable business. This is 9 offices,
over 200
hundreds
staff.
of people.
It is huge, and it's a matter of now I think when you do training and when you're within a small business of 20 staff, you can be really reactive and the structure's there, but the trainings and learnings are very personable. Whereas now we're trying to still do that on larger size and scope. But it's I believe in what they're doing there, and I want to be a part of it, to be honest. And I haven't, those nearest and dearest to me freaked out when I told them I was doing this, and lots of people did, were just absolutely gobsmacked that I was doing it. But I was ready for something new, and I didn't want to do that with someone who wasn't aligned with me in that regard. I have not panicked in 9 months that this has been happening for, so I'm so confident it's the right decision, and I can make a far bigger difference with a business like that than I can where I was.
And how does this impact on your family? So you have got this far with Jamie, as we already mentioned, was a part of the business. At one stage he started with you, he was your BDM. I think he built the rent roll to about 100. Go
did.
Jamie.
He did.
Preston and Caden have grown up with you being a real estate agent and having two businesses over the last 7 years. So does that make things a little bit easier for balancing that
It does.
family life, work life?
I think the balancing act has been done, to be honest. For any mum that's watching this, take school holidays with your kids. If you're working hard in between, just take school holidays. That was a crucial piece for me, is that my children knew that I was really non-existent for a lot of the time. When I was home, I was present, the phone was down, really communicated that expectation with my clients, and I was there for the kids. I would actually question, I was probably more present as a working mum than what some stay-at-home mums would be.
Yeah.
But I took school holidays with them. So if I can give any piece of advice, please do that. Time's precious in that regard. But it will look a little bit different. I feel like I've sort of probably got a little bit more freedom when they don't want to talk to mum anymore because they're now 12 and 14. So they're not a 2 and a 4-year-old anymore. We're 10 years down the track, and it's a totally different kettle of fish. But as far as it goes, for what it means for them, is they look and know that hard work really does pay off. And years ago, this will make me cry, but years ago, we pulled off the highway late one night, I don't know, probably trying to do the juggle, bought takeaway for dinner, I don't even know. And my eldest boy at the time, who was probably about 6 years old, said, "Mummy, when I grow up, I'm going to work hard so I can do all the cool things that you do with us." And I thought in that one moment, he doesn't look to see that I'm an absent parent. He actually looks to see that I work really hard and have opened lots of wonderful doors for them. So don't feel the mother's guilt. It's not worth it.
Yeah. And I think if we just go back to the point you made about school holidays, because I know, can you talk about the structure? How did you structure new properties coming to the market, etc., so that you could have school holidays?
This is my trade secret, Sally. I can't let this out. No, I'm joking. I would actually run my stock down leading into school holidays and have all of the Form 6s signed, ready to launch upon return, which meant mentally I was switched off. I knew that I had the stock to return to. I was also very present with the kids because I'd run all of the stock down. It created great awareness for me, but it allowed me to do it. And I think this is a beautiful industry where you can really dictate that, but still be very successful.
Yes,
I think I took holidays off in my best year. I think we sold 138 homes with just myself and one associate, and I didn't work a school holiday.
Wow.
So it is achievable.
Yes.
It's just a matter of that structure and discipline, and I wanted to be there with the kids. That was my reward, and it was their reward as well, and my husband's. So if I can give any piece of advice, run your stock down and launch it after school holidays if that's what you need to do. Yeah.
I was going to ask you probably a personal question, but in terms of what values do you think have contributed to your professional success and personal success? But I think one of them, clearly you've articulated it several times: hard work.
Yeah.
Just hard work.
It's funny. People always ask me for the magic recipe, but there isn't one. It's persistence and it's consistency, it's volume, it's just never giving up.
Yeah.
That they're probably the main traits that it was, and I quite often will talk to my husband and he'll remind me of the hours and hours we spent walking streets as a family, and I really brought them in with me on that journey. But I don't know what traits I had. It was just back to Sally. I was just determined to never give up. And I think, I didn't listen to head noise as well. I am, anyone who knows me in this industry, I feel like I've just had my blinkers on for the whole entire time. I don't know who many people are. I went as hard and fast as I could to be the best that I could be without listening to outside noise. When I did stop to listen to outside noise, it derailed me.
Yes, yeah.
And I learnt that, and I'm very big on that with my people, just to stay focused and don't listen to the outside noise. They don't know your journey and they don't know your story and what you're going through. And then I think if you're sitting on the other side, give compassion, because you also don't know that person's story nor journey. That's been really important to me.
And did you have mentors? Were there people, mentors and coaches and people whose opinion and guidance you really valued that helped you stay the course?
Many people, so many. I don't know if I should sit here and list them all. I think going back to mentors, and maybe it was a key piece of success, I don't know. I didn't pretend to know anything I didn't know. Certainly in a listing room I did. I pretended the whole way through. But outside, in being a business owner or growth as being an agent or a wife to a friend to anyone, I didn't pretend to know it if I didn't. And I asked lots of questions. You would confirm that along the journey. So if I didn't know or I felt lost or was struggling, I put my hand up and said, help. We can't grow if you pretend like you know it all. There's so much more I can learn today. I'm by no means a superstar. I just gave it all I had and asked lots of questions along the way. So that would be probably another big piece of advice that I'd give. But I had wonderful people. I had yourself. I don't want to name them in case I forget any, but there was David Rake. I know Macca had big impact. I loved that he was very brutal and down the line. Adam
tough
Downs.
Love. He is from the school of tough love.
Tough love. Adam Downs. Anyone that was winning, I actually went and asked them questions, to be honest, and to say, how did you do this? And I just tried to adopt every bit of advice that I was given.
And most people are generous, aren't they, with their advice? They're really happy to share advice and to share what's working for them and what isn't.
Absolutely. Yeah. No one in this industry, if someone kindly picked up the phone and asked the question, would ever shut them down. And if they did, well, lucky you found out then and not 5 years down the track. So it just wouldn't happen. Be open, so much to learn.
What fills your cup outside of work? I think I know the answer to this question, but what fills your cup?
My family. And I probably everyone would say that, but
No, probably not everybody.
I will get emotional. I have so much respect for them. I did. It's been a huge two-way street. So there you go. You got the tears. But that's
beautiful. I've never heard somebody say that they have the way you did that respect for them, for your family.
I do. Oh, look, I did cry. It was the hardest journey for me, so I can't even imagine how hard it was on their side. So my biggest cheerleaders, so grateful for them.
They are, and I have witnessed that over the years too. They are a beautiful family, Rox.
Thank you.
You have a beautiful family, and you're a wonderfully supportive family of each other. And it's a tough industry, isn't it? A tough business. Working those sort of hours if you don't have people behind you that support you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That just wholeheartedly support you. If ever I won an award, I was busting to take it home and show my kids, because they would just be prouder than anyone else could be of me at that moment. So
that's lovely. That's so good. Do you have a favourite quote? I like this question.
Yes.
Do you have a favourite quote? Would you like to share it with us?
Don't wait for the light at the end of the tunnel. Stride down there and light it yourself.
I love that. I've not heard that before.
I don't know. It was a mum quote. Thanks, Mum, again. It was throughout my whole entire life. I guess there's been many a crossroads where I said to you that I could have easily turned off at that brick wall and just gone down a different route, but I was determined to go in the tunnel of darkness when things are hard. You can take control of it. And I think sometimes if you're in the darkness or you're in the tunnel or it's just all too hard, it's so easy just to wallow in that. But just one step in front of each other and you'll light the light at the end.
Absolutely. Wonderful advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, go Mum again. You have been a wonderful supporter of Leading Ladies, of our Leading Ladies initiative. You have been our ambassador from the start, and I thank you sincerely for that.
Thank you.
What do you think is the value in a community like this? Why are you supportive of us building this community?
I think women in business in general, we've come so far, and I'd love to do a leading men's event. Do you know, it's not about that women's side of it, but it's just an acknowledgement, I think, for us to come together and share vulnerabilities, because it is different on our side of the fence as it is on theirs other side of the fence. So it's just nice to be real and network with each other, but embrace each other and support each other. I don't know if that's the right answer, but that's what I see from it. And I think we have come so far, and the acceptance of women in business is amazing. I remember starting as a business owner in the Ray White Group, and I felt like I was the youngest, only female in the room. And I would have gotten so much from these events throughout that time. So I hope that helps and motivates other women.
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your journey. I hope that you are as proud of everything that you have achieved as what I know I am of you. I've known you for 7 years, as I said, and I genuinely am really proud of everything that you have achieved for yourself, for your family. You are a wonderful ambassador for anybody in this industry.
Thank you so much.
And particularly women. And as you've mentioned yourself, women in leadership. We want to champion that. Leading Ladies is certainly not about the exclusion of men. It's just a focus on women.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time, for sharing everything. You're fiercely, protective of your team. You've been a wonderful coach, a wonderful mentor and leader to them. And I'm really excited to see what this next challenge brings for you, and where that takes you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and for all you've done over all these years. You're certainly one of those mentors along that journey. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Rox.